Greetings, minions and associates. If you are already a minion and you would like to type, please hit like. If you would like to become a minion, please hit follow. If you would like to share, or excuse me, if you would like to evangelize, please share. And if you would like to confess, please do so in the comments. Because, like, everything is definitely a cult. Hey, Trevor, how you doing? Ryan, good to see you guys. I'm just going to be going over the news today from last week, actually. We're going to catch up here a little bit here. Unfortunately, I've got about 4 or 5 of these today, I believe. Non-verbal teen with autism, with the disease autism, reported missing in Conway. I believe this... Where is it? Oh, this is South Carolina. I don't know if he was found or not. That was... He was missing Sunday morning, so I do not have any updates on this. But what we need to keep in mind is that this is a totally constant thing for autistic people, for autistic children and adults to elope and basically just take off. And I've done it myself, so it's not a big stretch of the imagination by any means. All right, I want to see who this is, if I can get the volume here. I don't see where the volume is. Here it is.
Vacation. But now the mom of 2 is spreading awareness about caring for children with autism after her own son.
Here, let's start this at the beginning.
Well, you may know our next guest as JWoww from the hit MTV reality show Jersey Shore, and most recently, Jersey Shore Family Vacation. But now the mom of 2 is spreading awareness about caring for children with autism after her own son was diagnosed at just 2 years old. Experts say that autism affects an estimated 1 in 36 children in this country and can impact developmental milestones like communication, establishing routines, and sometimes potty training. TV personality Jenny JWoww Farley joins me now. Jenny, I am so interested in this topic, and I think it's so important talking about this as a mom, you know.
I thought for sure that she had been diagnosed.
As a human, as a parent, what has been your experience raising your son with autism? What did you learn?
I learned that it's not talked about enough, you know. Going into this world, now that he's 8, it's crazy to me because, and even in the last 6 years, I've learned so many new things from autism being a spectrum, from like the communication aspect, the incontinent aspect, the sensory aspect. I'll be wholeheartedly honest. When I first came into this journey, I didn't even know there were those components attached.
A lot of people have no idea,
yes.
Right? And as a parent, you're already doing so much. You're already learning sort of like in real time on the battlefield, right? And then you have these additional things to have to think about. I know that you partnered with Aeroflow Urology. What kind of sort of practical advice and resources do they give parents and caregivers?
So a couple months ago, I posted for them because a lot of children on the spectrum develop or they're underdeveloped in the incontinence situation. And Aeroflow Urology really fights the...
I have been studying autism almost exclusively daily for 3 years, and I have never heard anything about incontinence being related to autism specifically. Now, we always have comorbidities, and I have understand about potty training being delayed and so forth, but I have never heard anything about a incontinence. Not to say that she's wrong, I've just never heard this before. This is going to be interesting, a rabbit hole going down.
Insurance companies, they do all the work for you, and it costs little to no money for the parents to receive these products for their children. And it really came down to the comments and the messages that I received, a ton of them being that they weren't aware that their kids were entitled to these services and other services, and others not realizing that insurance could cover them. And the fact that there is just help out there. People like Aeroflow Urology out there willing to help moms like us take the extra steps in providing care for our children.
What do you think is the most misunderstood thing about kids with autism and the families who love them?
The beauty of it. Looking through their eyes, like just looking at the world through their eyes. When I put everything aside with my son, and I started viewing the world just through his lens. It's one of the most beautiful things you could see. And it's just, you want to make the world more aware. You want to make it sweeter. You want to make it more inviting. That's why I'm on Culture City's board, to make all places sensory inclusive. So my son can go to soccer games and wrestling events and be able to see his favorite people that he watches on TV.
And celebrate diversity, neurodiversity,
Yes.
diversity in all types. I think that's beautiful, because I think as moms, all we want is for our kids to be free, our kids to be loved, and our kids to be happy.
Yes.
So thank you for helping us all play our role to do a little bit more of that. Jenny, J-Wow Farley, we appreciate it. Thank you for making the time.
Okay, well, that was interesting. I was not aware of that whole thing at all. I don't really know who this lady is, to tell you the truth. Okay, here we go. Medical marijuana helps treatment for autistic children in Israel. The health ministry approved the use of medical cannabis oil to treat autism years ago. Many parents report access to treatment is complex and very expensive. Yeah, they probably don't allow regular marijuana. Israel has 130,000 medical cannabis patients. Maybe they do. Highest per capita rate of any Western country. I did not know that. So, like, more people are getting stoned in Saudi in Israel than they are anywhere else. Okay. You would think with all those people smoking, they wouldn't be freaking so aggressive towards their neighbors, or their family, rather. Their cousins. My son used to bang his head. Let's see here. My son used to bang his head till he scratch and bleed. He had withdrawal symptoms, weaned him off of psychiatric medications. Definitely, that was one that I definitely had to deal with myself. Let me see if I can get to a good screen here. There we go. Okay. At 16, he called me mom for the first time. I even got a big hug, recounted that. Well, yeah, I feel way better when I'm on marijuana. In 2021, and it's not just because of being stoned, it's because it medically helps. It just helps my brain function better. This followed research led by Adi Aran. Head of, okay, I'm not even going to try to say these words here. Just not going to do it. The cannabis plants contains three families of compounds: terpenoids, flavonoids, and cannabinoids. Among the hundreds of compounds in the plant, the ones we are familiar with, THC and BCD or CBD, is a primary component of the plant. Okay. The more common compound among medical cannabis users is THC, which causes the high effect euphoria, relaxation, and reduce pain. The primary use of the plant among autistic children is its CBD compound. I don't worry so much about the CBD as the THC myself, but that's me. Mother of a 30-year-old Yuval who has been treated with medical cannabis for 8 years said that it is difficult to obtain cannabis to give her child. Cannabis oil treatment should be part of the doctor's treatment options, but they prefer to prescribe children medications with very severe side effects, and they don't work. You have to go through bureaucratic and financial ordeal in order to give your child cannabis. Yeah, I could definitely see that. For sure. For sure. I can see where that would be a real problem. Aran is a revolutionary figure in the field. The study we held was the first to be done in a controlled manner and no larger study has been published since. And there's so many countries that are doing different studies like this, and I imagine if they were to share information, things would go much quicker. But it seems like each country has to do its own thing instead of collaborating, which is really sad. We are in the 2022 study. They examined social communications of 80 children on the autism spectrum, treated with high concentration of CBD oil, specially prepared for the study at intervals of 3 to 6 months. We were surprised we saw an impact on the child's social abilities, not a miracle cure and not sustainable for everyone, but some of the indicators improved. And some of the autistic individuals, it's a life-changing medication, particularly if you can get the THC in there. I'm just saying. The adults that I know of don't talk about the CBD, but they talk about the THC. So, while we may be trying to go softer and gentler or whatever with the children, I was 9 years old when my mother first started giving me marijuana, which I know we can have all kinds of ethics talks about that, whatever, but it actually helped me back then. And that was just using straight marijuana. Actually smoking, which was horrible for a 9-year-old to do. I do not recommend that. HMOs also prefer to work with specific institutes. I now have patients who find it difficult to renew their prescriptions. Everything happened too quickly, and we weren't adequately prepared, he said. I believe the reform has been born out of a good place and to try to ease the process of prescribing medical cannabis. Okay, and these same things are going on in the United States, Canada, Australia, etc. As cannabis becomes more and more acceptable worldwide, I think this treatment is going to become more and more available. All right, moving right along. Single mom says landlord's turning her away because her autistic son has service dog. Yeah, that's actually illegal.
Single mother says time is running out. She's been rejected dozens of times because her 5-year-old son with autism has a service dog. Christine Long has more.
Isabelle Leblanc separated from her children's dad 2 years ago and is living with her mom. She'd really like to find a place to call her own.
Un propriétaire qui va nous accepter avec notre chien.
Her son, Olivier, lives with autism, and Mishka, the service dog, is vital.
Mon fils est autiste. Ma fille est en attente d'un diagnostic.
Okay, for Americans, this is a Canadian, so she's speaking French.
Leblanc says when Olivier's in crisis, he can hit her or break things. Mishka calms him down.
Devenir violent, donc me frapper, briser des objets.
For 6 months, she's been searching for a rental place in Terrebonne, Repentigny, and Lachenay areas. But, says she...
Oh my god, that is so crazy. That is so weird hearing French in like a North American accent. It sounds so weird.
Always gets turned away because of Mishka.
The market is just so difficult for tenants.
Project Genesis is a nonprofit organization that helps tenants know their rights. Margaret Van Newton says times are very tough for all renters, especially ones with animals.
Touching letters to the landlord signed by all their neighbors saying that they all love the dog in question and the dog is friendly and still the landlord will pursue an eviction.
Qui est la régie du logement.
Leblanc says the rental board told her service animals are permitted in public spaces, but in rental places, it's still up to the discretion of the landlord.
Landlords get to call the shots, and often the way they call the shots are certainly not reasonable, and I think that...
And I'm pretty sure in the United States that if they have a service dog, the landlords can't do anything, can't say anything about it. They cannot turn down a service animal. It's my understanding.
Needing a service animal is such a basic thing for many people who have disabilities, and so It is, we do have people who are complaining that their service animals or emotional support animals are impeding them from finding housing.
Both say the rental board should review their animal rules. Van Newton recommends tenants have their paperwork in order to prove their service animal is trained. LeBlanc has that, but never even got to show it because every landlord she spoke to said no, and time's running out. Christine Long, CTV News.
Yeah, that French and an American accent sounds so weird. North American accent, because my sister is actually French and she taught me French. Now what I learned from her was a very provincial, I guess, French, very, very country French, but it sounds so different. Crazy. All right. South Florida Swim School makes waves after developing new techniques to teach swimming to children with autism. Now, this story I have not seen yet.
South Florida is making a splash when it comes to keeping children safe in the water, especially kids with special needs.
Vanessa Medina introduces us to these life-saving instructors in this evening's 7 Spotlight.
Some children are never taught to swim, simply because no one is willing to teach them.
We're doing a lot of kids on the spectrum, where other schools turn them down.
The Autism Society of Florida says children with autism are even less likely to know how to swim, even though many are drawn to water.
So, oh, there's water. It's like a magnet. I'm running.
It is a autism magnet. I don't know what the hell it is about water. Why? Because we sure shit don't like baths, but boys swimming, that's good to go.
Towards the water, and that's what they do.
That was Kimberly Miller's concern. Her daughter Caroline is 3 years old and showing signs of autism.
Delayed in speech, eye contact, repetition of things.
Ready, set, go. Carolyn is taking swimming
lessons
from Baby Otter Swim School. After successfully teaching kids for years, the school realized children on the autism spectrum were being left out because other schools would refuse to teach them.
They'll take their hands and they'll hit, or they'll smack you in the face, or they'll punch you, or they'll kick you. They don't mean it. It's just their only way of expressing their fear.
The instructors at Baby Otter Swim School developed ways to teach kids with autism that's sensitive to their condition.
I have visuals, like if they're nonverbal and they can't speak, we show them with cards. Some don't like you to hold them this way.
Ready, set, go. Carolyn is learning a technique
Check it out.
Kick reach. If she falls in a pool, she will know how to turn over, swim to the edge, and reach for the wall or steps.
That is so awesome.
It's the same technique the instructors taught to one of their former students, Layla Crean. She was turned away from several other swim schools.
We said bring her over. So 15 years it's been later, Layla has over 30 gold and silver medals in the Special Olympics.
Although
Oh, my
it's too
word.
early to tell if Carolyn is destined to be a champion swimmer, her mother is happy to see her daughter learning to swim and excited that someone is there to help.
I am a lot more comfortable around a pool. I'm not constantly, I'm not a helicopter mom. Like, granted, I'm still watching, but I'm not attached to her hip.
And that's what the instructors here love to see.
High five.
We know that what we do can make a difference in the world of children on the spectrum. I always want to tell parents there is hope.
Oh my goodness.
And that hope provides a wave of relief.
This is unbelievable. Here I am getting another. I don't know. I think people are complaining about me. I think that's what's going on.
Parents.
Because
Vanessa Medina, 7 News.
I'm obviously doing something terrible here.
Kids to learn to swim. And all kids. And it's so great to see when they get the hang of it, they're good to go.
Now, the thing is this. I could give a fuck less about
classroom clash. 2 students
TikTok.
pulling hair but not pulling punches. The father of one of those girls
Okay.
is furious.
And he's demanding justice. 7's Alex Browning is
Now, what I was going to say about this swimming story here. I do this every week, and every single week there's a child or two or three that are lost from drowning. The kids that die one way or another, but usually it's drowning. Usually the kid wanders off, and hey, check this out, Trevor. This is about a swim school that specializes in helping autistic kids, which is really cool. So anyway, let's moving right along. I think I've got a couple of more stories where some kids did die from not being able to swim and from eloping. So it is very, very serious. But here we go. A study finds children with autism are drowning in Florida at an astounding rate. Well, Florida has tons and tons of water and tons of swimming pools. You got to understand, when you're in a place like Florida, like almost everybody's got a swimming pool. I mean, not everybody, but they are everywhere. Whereas, like, you go to a place like where I live here in Colorado, a actual swimming pool is kind of rare to find because we have so much winter here. The report finds 109 children with autism, that disease autism, drowned in Florida between January 2012 and April 2024. And this is just Florida. This is just Florida here. 109 children between, that's in almost 10 years, a little bit over 10 years. A 6-year-old girl with autism was found in Brandon after wandering away from her family home on Sunday, the Tampa Bay Times reports. That's this last Sunday. That's yesterday. No, okay, this is last week. This happened last week. Last Sunday, or not this last Sunday, but Sunday before. Evidently, 12 more kids have died since the study concluded, not to mention the one that they just had. The average age of children drowning with autism is 3 years old. Can you believe that? 3 years old. Howdy, Shannon. Good to see you. Unfortunately, I've got more and more stories, although I do have a good story about a lady in Florida that is teaching autistic kids to swim. But we also have the story here. Once again, every week I get these stories about kids drowning, and this is yet another one. And this story, once again, it says that the average age is 3 years old. So it's very, very, very young. And when we hear about autistic people eloping, it doesn't stop at 3 years old. I have, when my son passed, I wandered off a couple of times, actually, more than once. Because just due to the shock and so forth, I don't know. I don't want to revisit that place in my life, to tell you the truth. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is just great. A family asking 10 Care, so this is probably Tennessee Care. Yeah, out of Tennessee. So they're asking the state to pay for this bed. Now check out this bed. This is
a 7-year-old girl with autism.
It's a great bed, but I don't know that the state is going to pay for $18,000 for this thing.
Drowned after leaving her home in the middle of the night, and now one family is pushing to get safer beds.
Yet another story. This is out of Tennessee of autistic kids drowning.
For kids with
I am not picking out stories of kids drowning here and dying. I am not picking these out. I am just randomly picking up news stories here. Okay? This happens every day. This is a major, major problem with autistic children. And it has to be addressed.
with autism.
Our Dryden quickly shares their frustration.
Howdy, Trevor.
with care.
6-year-old Timothy has autism and is nonverbal. His grandma says sleep is especially hard for him, and he often wakes up and tries to leave the house.
My grandson's gone to the hospital 3 times with injuries that have happened where he's either fallen off of a bed or fallen while climbing on something when he was supposed to be asleep.
So when Mary Beth Lewis Baker heard a 7-year-old with autism had drowned after leaving the house during the night, it struck a nerve.
Not only is it sad that a little girl with autism died, it's the reality of knowing that that's going to be my grandson.
She says the solution is one of these cubby beds designed for kids with special needs to stay safe and secure.
It's not cheap, but...
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Testing, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Okay, cool. All right.
TenCare says the reason is the family must prove that other methods to help with sleep don't work for Timothy. The family says they've tried everything, and this is their last hope.
The odds are that my grandson is going to get out of my home and either get hit by a car or drown or have something else horrible happen to him.
Mary Beth says the next step is to request a hearing with TenCare. In Winchester, Dryden Quigley, WSMV4.
Too bad they didn't show that bed more. But yeah, that bed. Let's see if we can see the beginning. If they have it. No, they don't. Okay. All right. What else do we have? Oh, here we go. This is kind of interesting. Ow. Children who develop sign gap 1 will have it for the rest of their lives. There's currently no cure, gene. Okay, but what? Why are we talking about this? Okay, I thought that was going to have something to do with the story, but evidently not. Okay, scientists have identified a distinct brain connectivity pattern in 6-week-old infants who are more likely to develop autism. The discovery offers exciting insights into the neurological development of autism spectrum disorders while supporting the development of early interventions in the future. Autism spectrum disorders encompass a broad... Okay, we're not going to go into that. There are many potential... We know that. We know the causes of autism. In a new study published by the Journal of Communications Biology, which is a very interesting... the researchers from the University of California, Los Angeles set out to investigate how brain connectivity patterns in these high-risk children might differ from those of their peers. And as UCLA has been very, very involved in a lot of genetic research. Oh, is it really loud? Yeah, that video was loud. It was about blowing me away. I had to turn down my volume. I didn't know it was coming over that loud, though. Thank you for letting me know, because that way I can turn it down next time. The team evaluated 53 6-week-old infants, 24 of whom had at least one older sibling with an autism diagnosis. Infants underwent fMRI scan while they slept and were followed up with an eye tracking exams at 3, 6, 9, and 12 months while watching excerpts from Charlie Brown and Sesame Street showing social interactions. Specifically, the team were interested... Yeah, are they showing puppets, though? Like, if they were showing puppets that, like, might totally skew their study, right? Oh, that's cool. I'm glad you had a great time. It looked like you had a great time. It really did. I was really, really happy for you guys and excited. I can't wait to do an interview. Yeah, I can't wait, because how many couples have met? It's so hard for autistic people to date, period, and for two autistic people to actually meet and be able to have the ability to see each other from across the country is just absolutely amazing. Well, howdy from across the pond. Specifically, the team were interested in a collection of brain regions called the salience network, which usually they care about the cerebral cortex, by the way, plays a crucial role in determining whether environmental stimuli deserves our attention. Infants with the higher likelihood of developing autism, that is, those with one or more siblings with a autism diagnosis, showed stronger connections between this brain network and regions of the brain involved in processing sensory information and movement. Meanwhile, children in the low-risk group showed greater connectivity between salience network and regions of the brain involved in social attention and interactions, connections which were weaker to the high-risk group. What do you think? In other words, more attention to extraneous sensory stimuli in the environment could make it difficult to attend to social cues, and this difference in attention could really affect how the brain develops across the first year and beyond. Authors add that a small sample size of single time point used in their study does limit what we can determine from these findings. Oh, yeah. And, okay, where is this study? This is out of UCLA. So I've been noticing that we're getting studies from all over the world. So here we go again. Oh, I talked to Nikki and we were talking about, she said Thursday or Friday was good. I'm thinking maybe Thursday because there's more people, doing other things on Friday. So let's see, you get off at 4, which is, so basically 5 o'clock your time, so it'd be 6 my time. So 5 o'clock your time, basically give you an hour after work because I'm stalking you and know your schedule.
We're learning more about the death of an autistic and nonverbal 7-year-old girl. She was found dead in East Tennessee after an Amber Alert.
Let me see if I can. And here we go again. And like I said, I am not just like drudging these stories up. This is just stories as I find them.
About the death of an autistic and nonverbal 7-year-old girl. She was found in Tennessee after an Amber Alert was issued for her yesterday. The TBI issued
Really? Okay, well, I can't hear this one.
Police say that a dive team found her body on Douglas Lake near her home in Jefferson County. Investigators say she had left home twice in the past, but was found quickly both of those times.
Again, it's 4th of July. It's time to, for families to go out and enjoy themselves, and then to wake up very early this morning to see, choppers flying around and boats, quickly running in the water with scuba gear. It just makes.
And see, this gets into AirPods and so forth. And as I've discussed before, in situations like this,
makes me sad that something.
Would it be acceptable? I mean, if she was taking off your AirPods or whatever, or taking off her tags, then would it be reasonable to put a chip in a kid to make sure that this does not happen? And I say yes. I know a lot of people would say no.
Something like that would happen today.
According to the CDC, drowning is the #1 cause.
Wait, you shed a tear? You know what's really funny? It was just about 2 hours ago. I was thinking about you sitting there just crying her eyes out as she walked in, as she was boarding. Because it pretty much made me sad. I was like, oh my God.
Of death for children with autism spectrum disorder. Police have not said if anyone is facing charges, but we do know that the TBI is investigating.
Okay, now see this? They're already talking about
Hey, buddy.
they're talking about filing charges here. And that's very, very scary. Because frankly, that's a very normal thing for autistic kids. And so would it be better to put a chip like a dog on a kid that is constantly eloping so they don't die and parents don't go to prison? Just saying. And I mean, I would say that's an absolute last resort, but how many times? How many times before the kid, how many? It only takes once. So if there's one incident, how many more incidents? This was the third time, and she passed. So, silver alert: canceled for 30-year-old Mesa man with high-functioning autism. So this is a 30-year-old man that did the same thing, that eloped. Luckily, he let's see, has he been found or not? I don't know that he's been found. Oh, okay, yeah, he did get found. Okay, it was canceled. Okay, so this is cool. He was found in Oregon. So let's see, Mesa. That's Mesa police. That's Mesa. Is that California? I think that's California, actually. Oh no, that's Arizona. Holy moly! How did he get to Oregon? Oh my word! I wonder how long he was gone. And I wonder what happened. Oh my goodness gracious. His family must have been flipping out. Oh, that is so cool. You got Build-A-Bears. Okay, that is so cool. That's totally cool. Akron's Children's Hospital to launch pilot program to expand access to autism care. So what this means is they're expanding ABA. And ABA is still growing at an exponential rate, I believe, in this country. As autism becomes more and more known, your hospitals and stuff like that are becoming more and more likely to offer ABA care, which is unfortunate. And it's just a constant fight that we're going to have to fight. Newly discovered face-detecting brain circuit could advance autism research. Findings from a newly... And by the way, I'm horrible at these face things. All I see is good and bad here. And some that kind of confuse me. Because these faces, without context, don't mean anything to me except for good or bad. And some of these I have to guess, like this 1/3 from the right. It's in the middle there. I have no idea what that face is. Uh-oh. Yeah, I want to. As soon as I get done with this, I want to get on Discord and shoot the breeze with you if it's cool. If you're free. Oh, that's cool. Is that where the picture came from? Your profile and Nikki's profile, because that one's really awesome. I just that when I saw it, I was like, this is cool. I think you managed to get past the touch barrier. Let's just say that. Scientists at the National Institute of Health have uncovered a brain circuit in primates that rapidly detects faces. I almost said feces. I'm thinking primates, feces. Let's throw some feces. Oops. Okay, we don't want to detect feces. We can all detect feces pretty well. The findings help not only explain how primates, and we are primates, by the way, we are apes, we are great apes, sense and recognize faces, but also could have implications for understanding conditions such as autism, where face detection and recognition are often impaired from early childhood. A newly discovered circuits, and the way they're almost phrasing this is if primates are something different, which is kind of odd, but maybe they'll clarify that. The newly discovered circuit first engages in an evolutionary ancient part of the brain called the supercalconeus. Cloclonius, I hope I'm saying it right. I can't remember. Which can trigger the eye's head to turn for a better look. This better view enables the brain in areas of temporal cortex to engage in more complex facial recognition. This study was based in the Journal of Neuron. You know, it's funny that we have difficulties with eye contact and simultaneously difficulties in facial recognition. And I wonder if that's because we just really don't look at the faces like other people do because it's uncomfortable for us to accidentally make that eye contact or whatever. So I really wonder about that. In adult primates, which we are, the brain develops specialized regions of the temporal cortex called face patches that provide the ability to recognize distinguish individuals by their facial features. And except for cases like mine where I can recognize features, but they're very, very difficult. And a lot of times out of context, I won't recognize things. I've talked to my daughter in town in Pueblo, but she was from Canyon, and I didn't expect her to be in the county. And I saw her. She came up. Her and her boyfriend came up and talked to me, and I had no idea who they were. I had an entire conversation with them. They turned around and walked off, and then I recognized my daughter's gait. And I was like, "Oh, that was my daughter." So I probably sounded like an idiot. Okay, Trevor, that is completely normal. And you know that, like with your mom, you could probably look her in the eyes and not care too much. With your kids, you can look them in the eye. Parents, particularly significant others. But we've got to have a certain amount of closeness to them to be able to do that. If you just go pick up a one-night stand or something like that, it's not going to work. But if it's someone that you're rather close to, that's really awesome. Now, don't tell me you got into the eye stare thing. Did you guys start staring each other down? Oh, you're so pretty. Oh, I love your eyes. Oh, bullshit, that's my story. I told you it wasn't going to be easy on you guys. Okay, instead of harassing my friends here, moving on. These observations left scientists with several questions, including how does the brain shift the eyes towards the face to better see fine details, which provides this face preference before the brain's face patches develop, and how do the brain's face patches develop the ability to understand faces in the first place? Previous studies had suggested that the detection of objects by the superior colonus Colin Collius, yes, Colin Collius, there you go, was object agnostic. So it's neutral, meaning that this part of the brain was noting the presence or absence of that the brain was just noting the presence or absence of something. That's why it was pretty neutral, without any differentiation of what that might be. However, this study, I'm not going to say that name, and his colleagues found out that within 40 milliseconds, more than half of the neurons they measured responded more strongly to images of faces compared with types of objects. Some additional neurons eventually deployed preferences for other types of objects, but not until 100 milliseconds. That's very interesting. Oh my word! Okay, that is so awesome, Trevor. That is so freaking amazing. And I noticed she was still doing TikToks and so forth, but I got to ask about the cat, because like the cat seemed to be like her friend. Is this an emotional support feline? This is my emotional support feline. And actually, that's exactly what she was doing for her. Since, let's see, we believe this face preference circuit may actually drive the development of the brain's more advanced facial recognition processes. So if deficits in this face preference in the superior calcaneus might play a role in autism. Well, that's very interesting. Look at all these faces. Okay, I'm going to tell you what these faces are. This is like maybe mad, upset, bad. It's bad. She's happy, bad, happy, thinking, bad. I don't know on that one. I would say good, bad, good. And that's how my brain works. That's all I got. That's all I got is good and bad. But evidently neurotypical people can put specific names like happy, joyful, befuddled, puzzled, whatever, but those are a lot harder for me. I might say this might be puzzled, maybe, or that might be puzzled. I don't know. That one's surprise. I got with the big eyes surprise. That's about as good as I could do, though. Metabolism of autism reveals developmental origins. Researchers at University of California, San Diego. This is the second school that I think UCLA and then the University of San Diego or whatever it's called. Oh, I need to take a quick break. Hello? Hey. No. Okay. Yeah, Katie was here earlier and changed it. Okay. Alright, well, I'll probably make some hamburgers or something. Okay. Yeah, I gave him some fruit earlier. Yeah. Okay. All right, well, I will